everyone, here are the top 5 things I learned in my trends and issues in English language education. Number 1. World Englishes. Although awareness of recognizing world Englishes has expanded through the various published resources, researches, and even through international conferences, there remains a need to ensure that this trend is reflected in the curriculum, the learning materials, and even in the pedagogy. For instance, in the Philippine context, students should be encouraged to consider themselves within the concept of world Englishness as Filipino speakers of English, giving them a sense of identification with a personalized or localized touch or variety of English. As teachers, if we can instill a deeper sense of confidence using Philippine English to young Filipino learners of ESL, then perhaps they will be able to actively communicate in English and they will no longer be embarrassed or be grammatically conscious in doing so. Usually, in a Philippine classroom setting, when you ask students to speak or answer questions in English, they will no longer participate in class. And that is a big issue because, as a teacher, in order for them to learn the English language, they had to speak it. And yet, these students don't want to speak the English language. Therefore, if we really try to bridge this idea of world Englishness, then perhaps or maybe these students can finally get out of the idea of being linguistically insecure and anxious, and as a result, they can speak English with much confidence. Basically, with the emergence of world Englishes, we do not need to sound native-like. We do not have to force our students to speak native-like. We are not actually building an army of little Americans. We are actually building an identity, building another variety of English. You see, the English is something we speak. It is not something that is owned by one country only. It is for everyone. Number 2, teaching large classes. Teaching large classes can be daunting at times, considering that you have to solve a lot of problems as a teacher. One of the worst things you can encounter in teaching large classes is of the challenge of classroom management. As a teacher, you have to set out rules and you have to really discipline your students. It does not mean that you have to be mean to your students, but it does mean that you can let your students get away with undisciplinary acts. Moreover, I learned that you can divide the class into teams or into groups. You can use this chance to have a competitive environment in the classroom that is fun and can help them to be motivated. You can motivate them by rewarding the most active team or the team that has the best behavior or even the fastest team to get the work done. So even though it's really stressful to teach a large class, there are still ways or there are still strategies you can use so that your students will be able to learn what you want them to learn. Number 3, motivation. Motivation is one of the fundamental factors in learning a language. The feelings and excitement offered by extra enthusiasm for students to learn a second language or any other language in a better way. Based on a study, it was found that teachers had the highest influence on students' motivation. Thus, teachers should make an effort to vary their teaching methods and adopt various teaching strategies to attract their students' attention for effective learning. Number 4, teaching grammar. I learned that in teaching grammar, you only have to teach what is necessary. You do not have to teach everything there is in grammar. If you think that the topic is really relevant for the students in learning the English language, then you can include that. Furthermore, I learned that the most effective technique to use in teaching grammar is the combination approach. This is a mixture of the traditional and communicative approach, which can actually provide the English language learners with teachings of the necessary grammatical rules and the teachings of how to communicatively use the English language. Definitely, with the use of this approach, the English language learners can be provided with both accuracy and fluency. Finally, number 5, using technology in the classroom. Using technology in the classroom is an effective 21st century approach in teaching the English language. First, your students will feel motivated when we integrate technology in the classroom because most of the kids and teenagers nowadays are into technology. Shy students will be given an opportunity to boost their confidence and feel engaged because they can now write their thoughts, their opinions online, and they can interact with their friends, with their teachers, and with their classmates. Second is that online resources can provide the teacher and the students an immediate access to anything they want to learn about English. They can learn anything at all, whether it's about speaking, listening, writing, reading, grammar, and the different aspects of language. Lastly, it provides flexibility to course content. The students would now be able to learn English at their own pace. The teachers are just there to guide and help them. So that's it. Those were the things I've learned in my trends and issues in English language education class.